What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for another episode of our Oakland Athletics rebuild here on MLB, the show 23, where we are at a part of a season. We started 10-9, have since gone 15-30. Things are starting to look a little bit more like you think they would. This episode, I plan to get up to the draft, which will be what we will start next episode out with. But when you look at the schedule between now and the draft, there's not a lot of division opponents. In fact, there isn't any. But one team that has been quite good this year is our AA team, the Midland Rockhounds, 36-18 through this point in the year. And so today, what we're going to be doing is following them. And then, at the end, we'll see how our MLB team did while we were focusing here on AA. But I think having, a minor league focused episode is a good idea, particularly because they're good and our MLB team really isn't. JT Ginn has been really solid. Like, solid is selling him short. He's been really good this year at AA. Currently undefeated with basically a 2 whip and a a 2 ERA and a sub-1 whip. He's been incredible, so I want to see him pitch in today's game. And of course, at number 2 in the standings is the Corpus Christi Hooks. We saw a sneak peek of them, I guess, when we were previewing Tyler Soderstrom in an earlier episode, but today I think I want to get into two things. First, I want to see Gunnar Hoglund and just have an episode where we just watch his pitching, and he's actually pitching today. And then secondly, we'll watch kind of like a full game against the Corpus Christi Hooks with that other guy, JT Ginn, pitching. So let's get into the first game here and see some of, Gunnar Hoglund's pitching, as he is kind of probably our best long-term starting pitcher in our farm system at the moment. So let's see how he would do. Let's talk into it. And for this part, we are going to do some after-the-fact commentary, as I did comment live the pitching in this game. It just wasn't very good, and I also wasn't really pleased with the live commentary in my last episode. If I'm totally being honest with you, I thought it lacked a bit. So maybe for gameplay, after the fact commentary is just better, as we see a nice strike on the upper inside portion of the zone. But Gunnar Hoglund, he had that walk early, but able to rebound here in this inning with a nice slider strikeout to end it off in the second inning now. Able to jam Ivan Melendez and our best prospect Soderstrom up to make the play in right field. Walked another batter here in the second inning as well, but man, I was quite impressed with his ability at plenty of spots in this game to paint the edges of the zone. I honestly can't even remember what his control rating is, but just look at that pitch right there, clipping the edge of the zone. Now, you need an umpire that's going to call those strikes for you, but if you have one, goodness, Gunnar Hoglund just showed a bunch of control in this game. I think that was the number one takeaway that I had from this game in general. Was just a ton of pitches. Didn't leave, a ton right over the plate. When he missed, it was outside, and, he did miss, but he also just had, especially on the first pitches, you'll see plenty of, first pitches at the at-bat that resulted in just really close call strikes. There's another one right there. Strikeout looking was a generous call, you got to admit, from the umpire, but you take every call that you can get. So yeah, maybe a little bit of a pitcher's umpire in this game, but regardless of that, it does let a little soft fly bloop into the right field there for a hit, but for the most part, very few hits to start this game. No lots of, you know, just taking strikes because they were right at the edge of the zone. And these double A hitters were just kind of letting them glide right on by. Now into the 5th inning, in the mid-60s for pitches, so his pitch count is looking pretty good, and he just absolutely embarrassed Perdomo on this at-bat. Probably my favorite at-bat of his in this game. Just took two strikes and then had the 3rd one swing. Just Perdomo had no idea what was going on. Fly out there to get the 2nd out of the inning, and then another fly ball deep into left center. This one maybe had the threat to leave for a second, but it falls short. And what a just a change up right at the edge of the zone there. Just so consistently impressed. Nice little play at shortstop there by Davidson. Nice part about previewing a pitcher is you get to see some of the defensive plays here of the other players in this AA squad. But as we get to the 7th, his pitch count was up, getting up to that 100 mark here. And in the 100s, 3-1 allows a dinger deep into right field, and that would end his day for this game. Really impressive 6.5 innings, though, for him, if I'm being honest. Before we get into the 2nd game, I'd just like to see how our MLB team has been doing as we've simulated basically the Corpus Christi series here. And we've honestly been continuing to lose at a pretty consistent rate. We can look at a couple of box scores here. Kemp got himself 3 RBIs in this game. Blackburn got himself a win, and now down to 28 and 52 is obviously really bad, but that's kind of what we were expecting here in year 1, and that's why we've been kind of zooming through this season, going like a month at a time, really trying to get to a spot where I can get my hands on this team and improve them, because I think it's pretty well established that this is a bad team. But let's just take a preview of this entire AA roster before we hop into them. JT again, the guy that we've been wanting to see pitch, is actually on a cold streak, which is unfortunate, but Logan Davidson has not been hitting well. Again, still, you know, sub-3 ERA, really low whip, so maybe has lost a little bit of, you know, the stuff lately, but still excited to see what he can do in this game. Tyler Soderstrom, of course, has been raking here at AA. Zach Giloff doing a pretty decent job himself. Gunnar Hoglund been pitching, and of course we just saw a game of his pitches and thought he did pretty well for the most part. And Susak, he's actually been playing catcher with Soderstrom playing outfield for the most part, so we can get both of these guys on the field at the same time. I'd like to get, you know, Soderstrom some catcher experience, so maybe at some point this year or next year we can think about splitting them up, putting one in one minor league team and the other in the other, so that they can both play catcher. Max Muncy's been getting some upgrades as well. Overall, this has been a good AA team, and I think it's because they've got a lot of good prospects, you know. And I mean, we might not have any, you know, great prospects on the team, but the ones that we have are all in AA, and that's kind of what's helping us have a good season down there. We're definitely not having a good season in the MLB, and we're not really having one in AAA either. But hey, at this point, we'll take success anywhere we can get it. Let's hop into this Corpus Christi Hooks game. In this game, I was very excited to see JT again, and he starts us off with a little bit of a ground ball, easy out, routine play to begin this game. Next batter up, he goes down swinging with the sinker underneath the zone. And, you know, much like we saw with Gunnar Hoglund, I was pretty impressed at multiple points of this game with his ability to hit just kind of the edges of the zone. Honestly, just in general with the AA kind of episode that we have here today, I was just impressed with the pitching on this AA squad that we have, and it's probably a big reason why we are such a successful team in AA. Offensively, the first inning was 3 pitches, 3 outs. Basically the worst offensive inning you could probably ever have. That one sneaks in just on the good side of the foul line there, so hit to start off the second for the Hooks, but able to get the double play shortly thereafter. Nice play defensively and a nice pitch to keep it down low, but Jaden Murray was also very impressive pitching today. You could easily argue that should have been called strike there. And got some decent contact here from Susak. Hopefully, you know, getting that towards the gap a little bit is ideal. Couldn't quite do it there, but a nice diving play here over at third base, getting us another out underneath the zone. We can turn another double play, and that ends the top of the third inning. Not a lot of offense to speak of through the first 2.5 innings, but we start to kind of make some noise with our bats, get a man on base with a walk. And with 1 out, we've got men on the 2-man in scoring position for Robert Poisson, who then walks himself. Bases loaded, 1 out, bottom of the third. Tyler Soderstrom again on the first pitch. He's only seen 2 pitches in this game. Swung at them both and just couldn't get the contact he wanted. Zach Giloff here at third base. Also not able to quite get what he wanted, doing the splits there to make sure he stayed on base. So you love the effort there from their first baseman. Got JT again. Lost some contact there, but stays in the yard. And then another ground ball, and Giloff making some defensive plays over there. Is it Giloff? I honestly don't know. I'll figure it out if he ever gets the call up. If he stays in the minors, I'm not too worried about what his name is, but Jaden Murray continues to impress. And it's 0-0, but I honestly don't know if it's because the offenses are playing poorly or if these 2 pitchers were honestly just putting in some serious work, as both showed a lot of control, and there just weren't a lot of cookies over the middle of the plate in this game in the first half of it. But we are now in the 5th inning, and man, that was close. You'd love to see Poisson able to get that into the outfield there. Just missed it. Nice play in center field to run under that one. In the 6th inning now. Strikeout. Bottom of the 6th. Offense still not doing anything. Even, you know, we have really good hitters like Tyler Soderstrom, at least for, you know, AA level. But man, through 6 innings, just the ultimate pitchers battle. Both pitchers able to keep their pitch count low as well, so that they could continue to pitch deeper into this game. And we were getting contact, just not like great contact, right? Solid contact that was still easy to make the play on, but Lai Madris in the top of the 8th was able to get JT Ginn. His, you know, pitch count had gone up at this point. And much like we saw with the first game, you know, really good outing. Basically pitched until he couldn't pitch anymore, and that was his day. Ryan Howard comes in and gets a ground ball, routine play, able to get us out of the 8th, still without allowing a run. Unfortunately, our offense couldn't do anything either, and so through 8, score remains 0-0. Now top of the 9th, 2 outs, full count. That's a strikeout for Howard, giving our offense the chance to do something, and we do get a man on base with 2 outs. Susak 0-2 does strike out, however, and we're going to extra innings in a 0-0 game. Brock Whittlesey in this 10th inning, 2 outs, Still have the man on second here. Throwing 2 really good pitches here and gets the swing on that third pitch high, giving our offense a chance to push over the 1 run. He's pumped as he should be. And then we do get a hit by Brett Harris. Puts a man on the corners. And now we're in a good spot where Shane Selman can come in and he can bunt. I know bunting, not the most exciting play in baseball, but if that's what it takes to get the 1 run to get us out of this game, I will take it. We haven't had luck going to Double-A, getting any sort of offense, but I was impressed with what we saw from our pitchers today. And to kind of wrap up this episode, the last thing I want to do, since we do have the draft next episode, is to preview it here. Looks like we found a pretty good diamond in the rough here in Geraldo Soto. Doesn't look like he's going to be the greatest, strikeout pitcher, which I would like for him to be better there, but going to be good at, limiting home runs. Really high potential looking player. 56 on the MLB board, number 1 on ours. But on my personal big board, my number 1 player is actually William Park here. I think we need a prospect with a bat. And William Park looks like he's going to be able to provide that pretty nicely. And not that he's going to be bad in contact either. Even is going to have a little bit of speed there. Maybe not going to be the best fielding prospect. The 19 years old, he is my number 1 target. Eduardo Silva is actually my number 2, with Soto, the pitcher, being number 3, despite being number 1 on our board. He looks like he's going to be able to rake against righties, getting a lefty batter that's going to hit righties, which we're going to face more often, with also some speed as well. Another guy, not going to start out with, the best fielding, but if he has speed, maybe there's a chance. He also plays outfield, which I think we desperately need some outfield help. So, another guy that I'd be comfortable taking, I kind of came up with a list of, 6 guys that I feel like I could take at 6. Agustin Lopez is another one of them. Another guy, not looking to be maybe the best strikeout pitcher, but has good looking potential. Has what's going to look like very good walks per 9, which you like to see. So he would be 4th on my top 6 board. And then we have Kenny Paquete here, who another guy who looks like we like him a little bit more than what the MLB does, but he has a little bit more strikeout upside than the other 2 guys we've mentioned. Going to be good in the stamina department. Going to have at least decent velocity. He did opt out of his medical exam though, and so tried to come up with like 6 guys I was really comfortable with taking in the first round. I came up with 5, but I'm pretty confident at least 1 will be there. I really like my top 3 more than anyone else. Let me talk about Bo Schnell, who we just saw. I think is a really good option in with our 2nd round pick, should he be there. I guess he'd probably actually be my number 6 guy. So if the draft goes literally as awful as it possibly can, maybe we could take him there at 6. Going to scout a couple guys. I think Angelo Mota could sneak in and be part of that top 6 with a good week of scouting. So we'll see what he does in the last week here that we have allotted 2 scouting players. But basically, I've come up with, kind of a top 5 or 6 guys that I'm comfortable taking in the first round. They all look pretty good and all look like they're either going to be good pitchers or be a good bat. I think we desperately need both, but I guess we'll have to see how the draft shakes out come the start of next episode. Just going to get the final little bit of scouting here on Kenny Paquete, and that's all I've got for this episode. I'll be back soon with another, and I see you then.